So your point of difference is the fact that you're both deep trance mediums. Can you explain what that means?
It's an ability to forego control of your body and pass it over to normally your guide, but in our case we have a council of entities who we do this with, and they move in and take control of the operation of your body so that you're in the deepest state of unconsciousness that's possible without passing over. That's why it's called deep trance mediumship. And they then use your voice and all parts of your body to communicate the information that they want. If you put the hours together of the time that we've spent in trance, it's probably 5 years of our life that's not there, that we've spent collecting information. One of the issues is like everything, it relies upon your evolution, level of your energy, what you've learned through past lives, etc. And it requires upon the level of the entity that you're communicating with. Like all things on earth, it's open to abuse, and it has been, and it regularly is. For example, we teach deep trance mediumship typically from the time someone starts their journey as a medium to become a deep trance medium. Can't imagine that anyone could learn to be a deep trance medium in under 15 years, more likely up to 20 to become a deep trance medium. That's weekly training. That's the level of what's required. There's a modern term for it in one country, specifically in America, and they call it channeling. Fancy term. Unfortunately, they seem to think that, or a lot of them, that we can do it online in a few weeks. Of course you can't. There's no hope. And therefore you're going to have interference of the mind, and you're going to have the person's mind giving information. That's what we specialize in. There's no mind. We allow spirit to speak for themselves. But it's years and years of dedication. Up 15 to 20 is normal to get to that level of ability to be able to allow the entity to do the work and not you interfere. It's exhausting. The longest that anyone could reasonably expect to be in trance is 2 hours. And when I'm in trance, or Pearl's in trance for that period of time, the recovery time from sickness is 5 days. It's massive. It's a huge physical imposition. It makes you very, very ill, particularly in the 2 days afterwards. When it's done and properly as a pure deep trance, it's something you have little to no memory of. Whatever goes on, goes on. It's just so much work and so much dedication that causes so much physical hardship that it's a calling. It's sad that, like all things on earth, it's been abused, and people claim this ability when they don't have it, when it's fudged.
And what about them people who say, oh yes, I've seen someone channel Francis Bacon before. So what is happening in that situation?
Total imagination. And this happens all of the time with, unfortunately, usually out of America, with all sorts of entities whose names they come up with, oftentimes preceded by the title Archangel. That's a religious title. It has no existence. There's no such thing in the spiritual world as an archangel. There's no such thing as an angel. That's a religious term. So they're taking from the mind and saying that I have this terrific high-level entity. You can only communicate with an entity of about the same level of evolution as you, except in exceptional circumstances. And that's very technical, but it can't happen, it doesn't happen. It's the egotistical need of man. The good part is that they're accepting that we can communicate with the spiritual world. The bad part is I have to be the biggest and the best, because that's the culture of my country or the culture of my region or of my family. Why can't I just be me and do the best I can and be a good living person? Then we're going to have a better earth. We don't all have to be bigger and better. Please, let's have some honesty.
And it has to be said also that the journey, as Ian has actually said, the journey to mediumship is long and it is hard. I have found the journey to trance mediumship difficult, hard. It is plodding on and on and on, year after year. And a lot of people, and people who have come to our organization, are not prepared for the difficulty, the duration of it. They're just not prepared. They want the glory, they want the power, and they want to say to us, I want to be a medium in 2 years, 3 years. I don't want to wait 10 years. Well, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And our organization is never, ever going to qualify people to go out and work under our name who are not fully qualified mediums capable of getting the correct information from Spirit. And if anyone says, I'm not prepared to do that, well, we'll ask them to leave. We will ask them to go. And it begs the question, do the people who are doing this work, do the people who are doing a 6-week course online to whatever country and calling themselves medium, do they really believe it? Well, I would say to you, some probably do believe it. They have been manipulated. They have been led astray by the provider of that course. That begs the question, does the provider of that course believe that they're getting this information? I am sure some of them do. It would be difficult for me to hold a belief that everyone who's doing this is wrong and is not ethical people. I would want to believe that a certain percentage of them do believe that they're getting this information. I would want to say to them, demonstrate to me that you are, because I know a lot of them are not. I also know that there's a percentage who know that they're not getting that information, but they're running these online courses and they're making a lot of money. And I can tell you they are creating a greatest debt for themselves that you can imagine in lives to come, because they're manipulating and they're tricking people. People who come for trance mediumship readings, and I don't do the readings because I use my mediumship in a different way, which is in my healing business. Ian does it in the readings. People who come from readings from Spirit, you can't give a greater gift than give them pure information when they've come and they've got a problem or they're stuck in life and they really want information, genuine information from Spirit. You can't give a greater gift, because that can move people on to a trajectory in life that takes them to a much, much more fulfilling life.
The courses that you both run at Sphinx Spiritual School of Learning is all through Trance.
Oh, the information.
The information you receive.
Yes. Everything's through trance. Nothing is from our mind, nor do we interpret it.
Yes.
We give it as we get it, and we deliver.
So although there's courses, there's also evenings you hold.
What we have to make it accessible to the public at large are public nights, roughly every 6 weeks, of trance mediumship. We've had lots of people walk in and not believe. I don't remember anyone who's left not thinking that was real, because they're there and they can feel. And they can hear the information, they can hear the questions, and no one's ever been yet able to dispute the logic. The strongest that's been said is, if that was false, how could you remember all of that script for 2 hours without taking a breath, so to speak? Which of course you can't, it's not possible.
You don't think you're that clever?
No, I'm not. And imagine the prep time if I was. Now we make those available by live stream as well, and to be purchased off our website. So everything is there, it's on public display as to what we do. It's the greatest source of information that people who want to make real change and are ready for real information could ever access, that I could imagine, because it is so deep and so profound and has so many layers of knowledge within it. It's not for everyone, because everyone doesn't have the evolution, everyone's not ready. What we don't do is scoff at those who aren't ready. That's their right to be where they are. Some are ready, but regress. That's their right. That's what free will is, to take ourselves to where we need to, or to block our own progress. That's the way of life. We're great believers in the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull, preach to 10,000 and 5 hear you.
And even for those who do believe at a level and want to believe at a level, and they may be given information by Spirit that calls for a change in life, and they can't do it. They don't want to do it. That change in life means giving up certain things. And that might be material possessions, it might be wealth, it will certainly involve having courage and taking a risk. It always does. They can't do it. They're not able to say, I can't give up the materialism I have right now. So how do they deal with that? That information can't be right. Yeah, that was wrong.
And so are they nearly masterclass topics that the entities come through and speak on to deliver to the greater population? Like, are they...
Their topics are profound. They might sound simple, but none of them are. And the layers and the level of knowledge touch people's lives. And it causes great reflection. The choice is what you do about it. And as Pearl just said, a lot are uncomfortable about having to do something. Listening's easy, acting's hard.
For more spiritual knowledge, remember to subscribe. If any of the information Ian and Pearl spoke about piqued your interest, make sure you like and comment on this video below. There's so much knowledge and advice being delivered from Spirit to you via this channel. Healing your physical and emotional pains will guide you towards a more loving and meaningful life. This is the Spiritual Renaissance.